So let's take a look at how we're actually going to use a vocabulary list to write some sentences in Latin. Let's pretend that, well, not just pretend, let's do. Say that we want to write this sentence in Latin. The daughter of the sailor is strong. Okay? So I need to find the word for daughter on my vocabulary list, which is right here. Remember that I'm looking at the subject form, which is the first word, philia, and the possessive form, filii. When I look at my sentence, I see that daughter is the subject, so to write this in Latin, I start with the word philia, which is the nominative form of the noun. Of is what is an alternate way to show possession. I cannot write the word of, nor do I write the word the in Latin. So the only word that I can write after daughter is sailor, and that has to show possession because it follows the word of. When I find the word sailor on my vocabulary list, I see that the second word, or the possessive form, is nautai. So that's what I'm going to write in my sentence. Is the word est, and the word strong is this adjective, valedos a un. Remember, we have learned that after the word is, the noun or adjective that comes after it must be the same as the subject, which is daughter. That means that it will be in the nominative form, and because daughter is feminine, I am going to make the word strong and with the letter A, just like daughter does. So here's a quick tip. When you're looking at an adjective, the US ending is making the adjective masculine. The A ending is making the adjective feminine. So because a daughter is a girl, I need a feminine ending on my adjective. So that's what the sentence will look like. It can be rearranged, and I could write it like this. If I wanted to, or I could arrange the words in other ways and it would still make sense. Let's try another one. How about Caesar? Let's do this. You are the servant of Caesar. Remember that to write you are, all I need to do is use a form of the verb to be. So I'm using s instead of estus because I'm talking about servant, not servants. So you are the servant of Caesar. Servant comes after the verb, which makes it the predicate nominative. But predicate nominatives are just the subject after the verb, so I'm going to write servant in the nominative or the subject form. When I find the word for servant on my vocabulary list, I remember that the first Latin word, servus, is the subject or the nominative form. Of Caesar will be written using the possessive form, even though it doesn't end with an apostrophe s, because there is no word for of in Latin, and of is really just a different way of expressing possession. Remember that when I look at a vocabulary word entry on a vocabulary list, the second word, in this case, Caesaris, is the genitive or the possessive form. And so that completes my sentence. You are the servant of Caesar. Let's try one more. Cornelia's daughter is beautiful. Cornelia is showing possession. I can see that because of the apostrophe s. When I find her name on the vocabulary list, that means I have to use the second word or the genitive form to write it in Latin. Daughter is the noun that comes in front of the verb is, which makes it the subject, and the subject form is the first word on the vocabulary list entry. The word for is est. The word for beautiful is an adjective. Let me go up slightly so we can see it. And remember I said that when you look at an adjective, the first word that you see is the masculine form, and the second word is the feminine form. The third word, by the way, is a neuter form. So if you had a neuter noun, that's what you would use to describe it. But daughter is feminine because it's a daughter. So we're going to use the feminine form and write pulchra. Corneliae filia est pulchra. I can rearrange that so that it could look like this. Or I could also do this. I will never be confused about which noun pulchra is describing, because you should notice that pulchra and filia have the same ending, and so that helps me to understand that they belong together. So that's just a few examples of how to write a Latin sentence that contains a predicate, nominative, and a possessive using only the vocabulary list and what you know about the verb to be. Now it's your turn. Good luck!